Enter the world, but tread with care. Those roots remember every prayer. Carved from ash, from bone, from flame. The sacred beasts don't play or game. Here change comes, swift on silver wing, with dragonflies that bite and sting. Truth flickers soft and sharp as steel, and every wound must learn to heal. Don't come armed with hollow lore. This world won't let you fake the war. For those who think they understand, you'll bleed the fastest by your hand. So read and ache, be torn apart. These stories rise from broken hearts. With grit and teeth they scream and soar. You've never known a world like this before.
Welcome to The Black Butterfly, Book 1 of the Sacred Blood series by Sarah Yuher. Five, Blood and Power. Airlias. Airlias was led into a small entrance inside the manor from the courtyard. The entrance foyer was a stone room, moderately decorated with lanterns and wall hangings. As she followed the maid, Airlias was led from the entrance into a hallway that reminded her of the servants' hallways at Can-Am Academy. More lanterns, evenly spaced down the hallways, provided plenty of light for Airlias to see by as she walked. Soon, she was led into a larger hallway. Airlias couldn't help but glance around her. The walls were decorated with wall hangings depicting mountains, dragons, and gardens in fantastical designs and rainbows of color. A long rug ran the length of the hallway and looked like dark blue scales. The floor was dark marble, the walls stone. After a time, the pair came to a closed door. The maid knocked lightly on the wooden door and then waited patiently for a response from inside. They didn't have to wait long before a woman's voice called out from within. "You may enter." The maid opened the door and led Airlias into the room. The damper dropped into a deep curtsy as she addressed the vampire inside. "Mistress Rose, I bring you General Maverick's offering." In her deep curtsy, Airlias felt fear grip her heart. She knew of Mistress Rose. All the slaves owned by Lord Frostfang knew of her. One half of Lord Frostfang's twin fledglings, called the Briar Rose. She was their lord's left hand. Beautiful like her namesake, she was Lord Frostfang's eyes and ears in his realm. Slaves were always told to act and speak as if she was watching because, most likely, she was. "You may leave." Airlias heard the maid stand and leave, the soft click of the door leaving Airlias alone with a vampire for the first time in her life. Airlias could feel her leg muscles begin to burn as she stood still. The chair at the desk softly scraped along the floor as Mistress Rose stood. All she heard was the swish of silk as the vampire approached her. The skirt hem that appeared in Airlias's view was deep green, soft spring green slippers that peeked out from under it. It moved out of her sight as the vampire walked around her. When the hem came back into view, it stopped before her. A pale hand with long nails lacquered in blood red appeared. The finger that guided Airlias to look up was featherlight in its touch. "Stand straight and look straight ahead." Airlias shivered at the feel of the vampire's skin against her own. Kieran's skin had been cool, and Mistress Rose's ivory skin was like ice. The skirt of Mistress Rose's dress was embroidered with thorny vines going up to a thin waist encircled with an intricate golden chain belt. The dress's bodice was in the same deep green material as the skirt, but unadorned with embroidery. Showing ample cleavage, the dress left her shoulders bare, with short sleeves clinging to her upper arms embroidered with more vines. The vampire's hair was a deep red that brushed her shoulders in gentle waves. The only adornment she wore was a velvet collar the same color as her dress with a blood-red velvet rose on it. Her full lips were painted red to match her nails. Her eyes, though, grabbed Airlias's attention and made the room fade away as she began to tremble with pure terror. Mistress Rose's eyes were the color of grass with a ring, the color of blood around the iris and a cat's pupils. She smiled when she saw the terror in Airlias's golden eyes. The smile was not the comforting smile of one trying to calm a skittish animal. It was the cruel smile of a predator that smelled fear. And Airlias's fear was the spice it craved to season its dinner. "Strip," Mistress Rose commanded Airlias. Fear gripped her from seeing the vampire's strange eyes, but Airlias didn't register what Mistress Rose had commanded. Mistress Rose backhanded her across the face when she didn't obey her immediately. The beautiful rug on the dark marble floor did nothing to cushion Aerlia's fall. "I ordered you to strip. Obey quickly, slave." Mistress Rose's voice was cold and cruel, a stark reminder to Aerlias of her place. Her head wrung, and tears fell freely from her eyes as Aerlias got up on shaking legs. She removed her clothes as quickly as possible before setting them on the floor in a neat pile. The fire in the marble fireplace provided little heat as she stood before the vampire, naked and vulnerable. Mistress Rose nodded in approval as she began to circle Aerlias once again. She examined every inch of her from head to toe. Nothing was left untouched, not even her most intimate parts. The vampire poked and prodded at her, looking for any sign of sickness or defect. She even ran her hands through Aerlias's hair, looking for parasites. That hand, like ice, gripped Aerlias's hair firmly as Mistress Rose examined the human's neck. "Has anyone ever pierced your skin with their fangs?" "No, Mistress Rose." "And what of the brand on your chest?" Aerlias glanced down at the strange birthmark on her chest that had always looked like fresh branding. "It is a birthmark. I have had it for as long as I can remember." When she was satisfied that Aerlias was free of sickness defects or parasites, the vampire took her warm hand in her ice-cold one. She used one of her long, sharp nails to cut deeply into the meaty part at the base of Aerlias's thumb. The blood welled up in the palm of Aerlias's hand, and the vampire lapped it up like a cat with cream. Mistress Rose walked back to her desk. The cut on Aerlias's hand was deep, but the licking from the vampire had already stopped the bleeding. The spot ached, and she knew there would be a scar when it healed. The vampire picked up a folded piece of white fabric with a pair of slippers on top of it before she walked back to Aerlias and handed the bundle to her. "Dress in this," she commanded her. Aerlias took the clothes and pulled the soft white dress over her head before bending to put the slippers on. The dress came down to her knees and covered her shoulders, while the sleeves came down to her elbows. The fabric was heavy but soft and shimmered lightly in the firelight of the fireplace and lanterns in the room. Aerlias wished it provided more warmth. When she was dressed, there was a knock at the door. "Come in," Rose commanded the person who had knocked. The maid that had brought Aerlias here entered the room and curtsied deeply. "Take this one to the offerings rooms," she ordered her. "As you command, Mistress Rose," the maid responded before gently taking Aerlias's hand in her cool one to lead her from the room. "Oh, and dispose of her old clothes," Rose ordered, almost as an afterthought. "As you command, Mistress Rose," the maid picked up the neatly folded pile of Aerlias's old clothes without letting go of her hand and led her from the room. As they walked through the halls, the ringing in Aerlias's head had stopped, but her cheek still felt tender when she touched where Mistress Rose had hit her. There would be a bruise there, for sure. The maid led her through the halls for what seemed like an eternity to Aerlias, but it was only a short time. The pair came to a door guarded by Dampiers. The women went through and entered a hallway lined with doors. The doors were made of heavy wood with brass numbers embedded in them toward the top. The maid unlocked the door with the number 8 and waited for Aerlias to enter. Once she was in the room, the door was shut and locked behind her. The room was small, though a little larger than the room she'd had at the Damper Barracks. Instead of a cot, a narrow bed was neatly made with cotton sheets and a wool blanket. The dresser was the same as her old one, with a stone wash basin. The main difference was the mirror hanging on the wall. Aerlias looked at herself in the mirror. Her golden eyes were wide with fear, and the bruise that was forming on her cheek stood out starkly against her pale skin. Her chocolate hair was disheveled, and she picked up the brush that was lying on the dresser to brush it. The familiar movement of brushing her hair calmed her somewhat, but it couldn't wholly chase away her fear of being presented to the vampires as an offering. Or from her first encounter with a vampire. Not just any vampire, either. Lord Frostfang's left hand, Mistress Rose. Is Lord Frostfang the same? Cold and cruel? She wondered bleakly. Aerlias curled up on the bed and hugged her knees to her chest. It was soft, but she barely noticed as she began to sob. She had lived her whole life as a slave, but she had never felt so alone or afraid. The other slaves were like family to her, the dampiers mostly leaving them all alone. Closing her eyes tightly and curling into an even tighter ball around herself, she wept. She wept her longing to see Emily or Elric or anyone again. She wept her fear of the vampires and what they were going to do to her. She wept her despair that she would never see the sun again. She wept until there was nothing left in her, and then she continued to cry. Mistress Rose. As she sat at her desk, Rose tapped her lips thoughtfully. She had never tasted such power before. General Maverick was correct that the slave, Erlias, had powerful blood. She was the most exquisite offering to her beloved Night Father, Lord Frostfang. Could we get her to tap into the magic in her blood? The mages call it Psi, I believe. How powerful will she become if she does? Or if my Night Father awakens her to the blood? Hopefully, my Night Father is not offended by her birthmark. How strange that it looks so much like someone had branded her with a wyvern shaped like a claw. Her blood held power, and she was also a beautiful human specimen. Her thick chocolate hair fell in waves down her back to her waist and was softer than silk. Ample soft breasts with round hips and buttocks were perfect for bearing Lord Frostfang's strong, healthy damper children. A beautiful mage concubine. Or a powerful vampire mate for my lord and master Frostfang, Rose mused to herself. Being awakened to the blood would take care of Erlias's timid shyness. The best part of her was that she was also untouched by man or Fang, a perfect virgin offering for Lord Frostfang. General Maverick had truly outdone himself with the offering.
O Father, have we failed you? O Mother, have you turned your back on us? What price must we pay for you to send your child unto us? For the chained and the scarred, for the broken and the damned, let us never forget the redemption price. O Father, may you break our chains. O Mother, may you heal our scars. What price must we pay for you to send your child unto us? For the chained and the scarred, for the broken and the damned, let us never forget the redemption price. O Father, can we be redeemed? O Mother, what is life and death? What price must we pay for you to send your child unto us? For the chained and the scarred, for the broken and the damned, let us never forget the redemption price.